Hey everybody, we back again. I want to show you a part 2 of the cloud weave that we was working on. Right now I'm finishing up polishing and everything. Polishing that takes pretty much just as long as the whole making of the chain and everything. I'm sorry I'm a little delayed up on making the video. You know, I do have my personal life I have to take care of too. Besides making jewelry, I do photography also. Got a fiance, I got like so much stuff going on. But anyways, man, I hope y'all like it and everything. Like I said, you know, I'm always make something unique. Unfortunately right now I have a product I have to work up on for a customer. I don't want to say too much information up on it because I can't really divulge too much of who it's for or whatever, but you know, I'll show y'all the process. Maybe if I get approved from here, I'll show y'all the process of me making that one and everything. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna bore y'all too much with the introduction. We're gonna get right into the video, man. Peace out. You take your aim, far away, far away. I had to get my measurements down right. I didn't want my box class to be like too thick. No, I didn't want it to be too thin, especially like how delicate this bracelet is. So I had this one like at 9.5 by 6 millimeters. Most of my clasps is still around that size, but you're gonna see me do this pretty often. I call this annealing. Well, that's the actual term of annealing. So basically, we bring our metal up to a certain temperature where it softens it and it allows it to be more malleable. That way it doesn't break whenever it's bended or work hard or anything like that. So you'll see that term a lot, or you'll see that happening a lot whenever I'm making my jewelry. You see me do that a lot. So for us that handmade box clasps, like for me, whenever first thing I do, I hit it with my saw. I go through about halfway to 60 to 70%, maybe a little bit more. Actually, I might be off my percentage, but after that, I hit it with my triangular saw. And then after I hit it with my triangular file, and then after I hit it with my triangular file, come back, I hit it with the square file, and once you hit it with the square file, it's gonna help you to form you a like perfect crisp edge upon your end of your box clasp. After we do that, you know, we see we got here form. I use different types of pliers, just depending on how thick it is, whichever one gets in a little bit easier. But whenever you're making those cuts, you gotta keep them cuts straight, because if them cuts ain't straight, then your box about to be crooked. I've made that mistake plenty of times, and it's not a fun thing to have to do right there, man. And then like, man, I got a little bit creative. I was like, you know what, let me try something, man. Let me put the top of it at platinum or the bottom of it platinum and keep the other half of it gold. So I was like, fuck that, let me cut this. And that's where shit really started getting tricky at, man. I'm not even gonna lie, cause like I said, my first time working with platinum, and platinum, that's a whole nother beast, man. So this right here, you know, I'm cutting my little the catch off for my clasp. You'll see me forming it. I soldered it in. You know, I cut out a lot of parts, but that's one of the reasons why I'm explaining it. So you know, this right here is the catch of the tongue of it that's going to be going inside of here. So I was like, all right, well, let me throw some platinum in here. And platinum, you're gonna see, like, I like messing with platinum, but platinum is dangerous, man. I gotta wear, I think I told you on the other video, I gotta wear my welding stuff, because if not, man, that junk gets so bright. It's literally like looking at the sun. And if you look at platinum, you're gonna blind yourself. So you gotta wear your welding mask. It's like, I use a pretty high number. I'm not sure. I think it's like number 8 or 13, something like that. But it's platinum. I'm starting to like it a little bit. It's a little prettier, especially when it comes down to polishing. So, you know, you see me coming with my favorite little tool again, and just to help get my tongue out. So I used the same measurements. Like I took a measurement of the box of how I already had cut it and everything. So whenever I'm making these, this bottom part, I always cut it a little bit bigger than the actual other half of the clasp, especially with the platinum, because platinum, it contaminates easy. It's so easy to get something black on it, and I wasn't really too familiar of like whether I use my flux on there, whether it's gonna contaminate my platinum, turn my platinum black or what. So I just figured, all right, I'll cut enough edge off of it, that way if I do get any contamination, I'm able to cut that off or file that off, sand that off, or whatever I need to do to help to get a beautiful piece, beautiful clasp upon it. So with me cutting this piece, it's actually, I don't know if you probably be able to see the lines at a couple times when the camera focuses. but I'm actually like cutting like right on the outside of the line, cause I didn't want to cut it too perfect. And I do this for all my classes. I always cut on the outside of the line because I want to file it down on my edges just to make it a nice, smooth on all ends, everything like that. So what I did with the little extra, I know y'all can see that I got like a lot left up on that. Once I cut the little square out, I used the other half of that to make the tongue of it. Cause like I said, I started getting a little creative. My mind started churning. I was like, you know, what can I do? Cause like I've told you many times, I'm a photographer, man. So like when I'm doing photography, I gotta get creative with my scenery and everything. I started just doing the same thing on this, and I knew it was gonna be a challenge for me, but you know, how else am I gonna get better if I don't push myself to learn these new little tricks and trades? Cause like everybody else could do it, so it's like, why not? Let me try it too. So I used the other half, the other end of it, because that was a lot left. I used that to make the tongue of my class, and you're gonna see as we go through the video where that came into play at. And then I know y'all can probably see like, damn, he put a stamp up on it. So I did stamp my medals. When I first started doing it, I'm not gonna say first started doing it. My first piece, I kind of forgot about the whole stamping process until it was like too late. Then when I tried to do it, like I realized like, okay, I need to stamp a lot earlier. And so I'll explain this for any of y'all that's gonna make class. Stamp that junk early. Like when you know it's about to be a piece in a certain place and you want that stamp right there, put your stamp right there, because once it's in a clasp or once it's on a tongue or something, if you try to stamp at that part, you're gonna damage it. You're gonna break it, and you're gonna be starting over, and you don't want to be doing that. I've made that mistake, so learn from my mistakes. Don't do like me and try to stamp it when it's way too late. So as you see, you know, I cut this piece is a little bit bigger. Like I've told y'all, like I said earlier, it's a little bit bigger. That's why I'm measuring it right here to see, okay, boom, it's in that line. Let me cut on the outside of this line. That way I could make sure that whenever I go to file it or whenever I go to solder it to the box, and any contamination I might get from the solder, I'm not about to run into any issues with that. So I'm cutting right there on the outside of the line just to get a nice little smooth for the end game. All right, so right here, this is the top half of one half of it. I don't know if it was the catch piece or the male piece, female piece, was one half of the class. So one thing that like I told y'all with the platinum before, platinum could take a bunch of heat. Platinum could take heat that gold ain't gonna take. So whenever you know, I put that up on there, and whenever I was soldering it, you know, I had to be a little bit careful about that, because especially on the type of block I was soldering on. Most time, if I'm messing with just gold, I can solder on a gold block. I mean, on a charcoal block, but charcoal contaminates platinum very easy. And whenever heating the charcoal block up, a lot of times the pieces start going flying around and everything. Just little minuscule pieces, and just those little minute pieces could contaminate my platinum. So this block right here, it absorbs a lot more heat than normal, so I had to be like really delicate up on like aiming the heat. But eventually I got it right. You know, I had to flip it over, do the other side, that way my solder takes on the both ends. And if you see that my platinum is actually extended on the outer edge of the gold. And I did this, like I told you, I did this so whenever I file it down, I'm not having my junk all contaminated, because it looks bad whenever it gets contaminated. And you'll see in a lot of other videos, people talk about the contamination of platinum, and it does. It's sometimes I know in my experience, I've just seen it turn black, because I just try to keep it as neat as I can whenever I'm doing the platinum. So just if y'all mess with the platinum, just be careful on that. And so here, you know, we got the soldering of the two halves together. I had what I did, I soldered a gold part on the back, so the bottom of the class is platinum. The bottom of both ends of it is platinum. And another reason why I did that is so I can make sure I have my stamp for my platinum up on there, because I did have the option of like just not stamping it at all and just have an 18 karat gold stamp up on there, but that kind of defeats the purpose of working through all this platinum and showing. And for any customers that want to like show what they have, like show it off, they want to show it, hey, yeah, it's real platinum, whatever. So I used 18 karat solder mostly through this process. And one of the reasons why, because with this platinum solder, and solder is I know y'all see those little bitty chips that I'm messing with the little tweezers. That's what we use to hold all it for our clasp or for any rings that we gotta like fuse together. We're going to use that, and the platinum solder, the temperature that it takes to melt that is way higher than the temperature for gold to melt. And eventually I just come up with a bunch of damaged pieces of gold that I have to throw and go refine later on, and maybe sometime melt. It just gets upsetting. And I'm telling y'all this because I made that mistake doing this. Like I told you, this is my first time messing with platinum. So everything I'm telling y'all is just because I went through this significantly. So but yeah, so like same thing, I'm using this the back piece. That's still the 18 karat gold that's soldering on the back of both ends of the box clasp. I'm using the 18 karat gold, and you know, I was just trying to get creative, just trying to figure out like, hey, how do I want to do this? Like what would look nice? Because honestly, I was thinking about maybe putting a platinum piece at the back, but when I was thinking about that, it's like, okay, well, if I do a platinum piece at the back, then I got to do a platinum solder on a platinum solder, and because if not, it's going to contaminate. And platinum, like it was just so much extra stuff that I had to think about. Like, do I really want to take the risk of melting this whole piece and having to start all over, or do I just want to just keep the platinum at the bottom and just put more gold at the back? So maybe eventually down the road I might try some experiments and see what I could come up with. But I just know at that point in time when I was doing this, I had to I couldn't do it. I just know that it was gonna be some issues, and I had to stay away from them issues. All right, so you know, you see how we got the edge a little bit sticking over. Like I told her, you know, that's done on purpose. And most jewelers that's hand making clasps, if they're doing it in two separate sections, because I could have did it where it could have been, if y'all did it in all gold, it would have been one solid piece, and I wouldn't be having to worry about solder a bottom piece on to it and everything. So but here, you know, I'm taking my Fordham drill, and I'm using I think that's probably about 800 grit, 6 or 800 grit to file that down, just to make sure that that doesn't, just to smooth it out, So but you see, I got my little platinum tongue in there. I'm getting my measurements down because I need to see where I need to put the trigger at for this. So once I'm able to get a good depth of like where it's gonna be, I'm marking it off on the other end, on the opposite end of it, so I'll know like, okay, boom, this is how far it could go in. This is where I need to solder it up on the male piece of the clip. So you know, on the male piece of the clasp. And you know, right now I'm doing a little bit more touching up, filing the edges down, getting it very uniformed all the way around. I've already soldered my tongue inside of my male end of clasp, but I still need to just make sure it's just even all the way around, And you could kind of see the bottom of it being platinum on there. And like I said, the back part is gold, the top of it is gold, size of it is gold, but just the tongue of it and the bottom part of it is platinum. So what I did with the bracelet, that if y'all watched the other video, you already know like the process of going through with the bracelet. So what I did, I just threw one more platinum ring in there. I did contemplate putting a gold one in there, but I figured let me just put a platinum just to keep it the pattern that was already going. So I threw another platinum ring up in there, soldered it, soldered the ring closed like all the other ones. You can see right here that the fire is on there significantly for a significant time, like significant. Y'all can see, if y'all follow my videos, I'm gonna end up doing some more gold ones. You can just see the color difference. So the color of this is just crazy in comparison to gold. It gets bright. It don't get red, it gets bright. And I don't even know how much I can elaborate on that, like how bright that junk really gets, man. So you know, like I said, you can see right here that I have the 18 karat on the back, soldered in the platinum. You know, I am sorry about the angle of the camera to try to get that. And another thing I do want to point out, I know y'all see that the color difference of the clasp is a little bit different from the actual chain, but that's because of a couple of reasons. One, we have fire scale. I wasn't using flux for a lot of parts because I wasn't too sure if the flux was going to contaminate the platinum, but I also knew that I could polish the fire scale. It might take me a little bit extra time to sit there and polish my jewelry after, but I could polish it out. And also another thing that we do as jewelers, once we get once we anneal, once we put any solders or anything up on there, common thing we do is called pickling, where we put inside the liquid. It's an acidic type of liquid, pretty much water and a type of acid, pickling acid, and it helps to remove the black stuff off that we get on there. But also after that, we throw it in the magnetic tumbler, which is basically a bunch of metal filings inside of a magnetic tumbler. So I keep mine spinning there for about 30-40 minutes, just depending on how well it gets. But you'll notice a big difference in the clasp right now in the color change, just from the magnetic tumbling and simple pickling from that. All right, so right here, this is pretty much the final product. I still have a little bit more extra polishing to do. I know y'all can see like a couple of little scuff marks on the clasp. Y'all probably saw it in the beginning on one end of the clasp. But polishing, that's going to take a couple of days, but here we go. This is the final project, man. I hope y'all liked the video. Stay tuned to see what we do next, man. Peace out.